think Jake the dog is just a stretchy hero who saves the day? Absolutely not. He's a stretchy outlaw as well, bending the rules as easily as his body. This yellow-orange troublemaker has crossed lines even the Candy Kingdom's villains wouldn't dare, and today he's going to answer for it all. Being the older adult and obviously the stronger and more powerful one, it makes sense that Jake has the responsibility of watching over and looking out for Finn. But time and time again, he does the exact opposite. In the episode The Witch's Garden, Finn and Jake stumble upon a cool spot, but it's locked.
What are you talking about? I got 2 keys right here. Wow, look at this place.
It is a really cool place. I mean, donuts are just littered everywhere. But before they can enjoy the scenery, a witch shows up, and she's mad because Jake stole her donut.
Whatever. Uh-oh. Just a little chilly. Whoa!
For taking her donut, the witch curses Jake by taking away his powers, only to be restored on one condition.
The only way I'll give back your powers is if you admit your error and say you're sorry.
Well, you can forget it.
But Jake's such a jerk, and he'd rather inflate his ego than apologize, so he and Finn decide to find other means to get his powers back. Soon, Jake realizes that his stretchiness was what made him have such a big mouth in the first place, because he really can't do crap without them, even to run.
Thought running was some sort of leg magic. Look at me, I'm running. Oh no. Running is evil.
But does he learn his lesson and apologize? No.
This is stupid. Just go back to the witch and apologize and get your powers back.
Powerless forever, then apologize. I'm lazy but prideful.
You're not even trying, man!
But then disaster strikes when Finn gets captured.
You gotta save yourself! I'm just a dog!
Having his powers would really come in handy in saving the day right about now, but no, he'd rather be arrogant and prideful. Finally, after several attempts and failures, Jake goes back to the witch to apologize, and she takes her sweet time.
Apology denied.
What? Why?
Because you took too long. Now you have doing a variety of humiliating things.
No way, Jose. Come on, dude. It's the only way to save Finn.
I mean, I don't blame her, but Finn's life is on the line, so we kind of need to speed this up.
If only I were a humbler guy, my best bud wouldn't be trapped in a mermaid's nest.
Gloat, gloat, gloat! I think you've learned your lesson. I forgive you.
The witch finally takes pity on him and restores his powers, thinking that he'd learned his lesson, but wrong.
How can I ever thank... Ha! Gotcha, Kane.
But didn't you learn your lesson?
Nope.
With his powers back and his douchebag self restored, he goes to rescue Finn, but he still refuses to admit that he apologized.
So is that how you got your powers back?
No way. I must have found the right mud puddle. I don't remember.
While things might have ended smoothly here, Jake is still in a lot of trouble. As Finn's older brother and best friend, Jake has an implicit responsibility to protect him in dangerous situations. His inaction in the whole scenario, especially given how he could have avoided it from getting to that point, represents a failure to uphold this responsibility. This means Jake will be charged with the neglect of duty, and apologizing won't even get him out of it. He'll be facing 2 years imprisonment and a fine of $10,000. Sometimes I'm pushed to say Jake doesn't really care about Finn, because some of the things he's done and the way he treats Finn don't exactly reflect a best friend's behavior. Honestly, it's a little shady and borderline criminal. In the episode Freak City, Finn and Jake run into a magician, but it's not the kind of magical encounter you'd hope for.
Now I'll do you a favor in return. A mystical, magical favor.
Whoa, dude.
He turns Finn into a foot? Talk about a step in a new direction, because this is definitely not what Finn wanted. Now, Finn can't just walk it off, and he has no choice but to just stand there and figure out how to get back to normal. Jake, on the other hand,
Now that you're a huge foot, you can kick evil's butt like way more times as hard.
Why are you being so level-headed about this?
Don't be a sis, Finn. Here, come on, kick my butt.
have you got no sensitivity or emotional intelligence at all, Jake? Your best pal just frickin' lost his body, but rather than work towards helping him recover it, you're being weird and acting like it's all okay.
Shh, just be a foot for a little bit. Okay, I will. You'll never regret this.
Best friend, my foot! Jake decides to pressure Finn into being the best hero a foot can be and puts him in a very dangerous situation.
Town on fire. This looks like a job for foot Finn stomping ability. Get your hero on.
Okay.
He throws a Finn that can't walk or stand right into the middle of a burning village. Finn tries to wriggle his way through the situation, but ends up in an even hotter one when the villagers blame him for the fire. What?
It's hot!
It's another one of those freaks.
It probably started this fire!
Get rid of that freak! Stay out of our town, freak!
The villagers toss Finn over the bridge, but Jake doesn't seem to care. It gets worse when they both meet a bunch of other people that were tricked by the magician, and somehow Jake mocks Finn for this situation.
Stop screwing around. You're gonna make me give in to depression.
If you're depressed, you'll do nothing.
Maybe I will do nothing.
Man, that's just a sick thing to say. But after a while, Finn refuses to wallow in misery and finally rallies the others to confront the magician and recover their bodies. After all is settled, he calls out Jake for his terrible behavior.
Speaking of jerks, why wouldn't you help me turn back into a boy?
I kinda always wanted to...
What?
I kinda always wanted to be a foot myself.
Nope, that's no justification whatsoever. But other than being a total jerk towards Finn by trying to make him stay afoot and throwing him into a burning village, Jake can be charged for endangering Finn's life. This comes with a penalty of 2 years imprisonment and $10,000. Some episodes really make you ask, what is Jake's problem? Because seriously, the stuff he does can be downright insufferable and just plain crazy. Like in the episode My Two Favorite People. Jake has a date planned with Lady Rainicorn, but before that, he sees some of the cool fights Finn gets into when he's not around.
Who are these guys? This is a great fight.
They come out every day at 4 o'clock on the dot.
I guess that's because I meet Lady Rainicorn every day at 4 o'clock on the dot.
I'll at least say he's got his priorities in order. So Jake heads off to meet his girlfriend, but uh-oh, he shows up late, and it's clear Jake isn't thrilled about how things are going.
Yeah, sorry again for coming so late.
Ta-da.
Whenever I hang out with Lady Rainicorn, I miss out on fun times with Finn. I hang out with Finn, I'm missing out on Lady Rainicorn.
Now, to solve his problem of missing out on fun between the both of them, Jake decides to get his two favorite people to hang out together, but there's maybe one small problem here.
농부 아저씨 완전 맛이 갔어.
What's the joke?
Well, the joke doesn't translate very well.
Finn doesn't speak any Korean, making things very awkward. But there is a solution to this language barrier.
There's a universal translator device at the bottom of Lake Selazar.
Guarded by evil lake knights?
Can't remember why I threw it in there.
Seriously, Jake? You threw your girlfriend's language translator into the ocean and don't even remember why? Sure, nothing fishy or weird about that decision. So the three all head out together to retrieve the translator, but there's a little snag with the voice settings.
That's the end of my story.
At least with old man option, we can understand him. I mean her. I mean you, sugar.
Now Lady Rainicorn is stuck sounding like an old man. Classic. But hey, it's just a voice translator, right?
Wrap your legs around me.
I remember why I drowned that translator now.
Still, come on, man. It wasn't even your property to discard in the first place, no matter how weird it made you feel. With the translator fixed, Lady Rainicorn and Finn can finally understand each other, and they bond. Aw, how sweet. Except Jake now feels like a total third wheel.
Hey, Finn, after this next game, you want to go adventuring with me?
Going to a party in the Cloud Kingdom tonight.
Sorry, Jake, but you're acting weird. Instead of joining the fun, you're being immature and jealous. And when things spiral out of control, Jake decides the best solution to fix everything is to throw Lady Rainicorn's translator away again.
It's time to get rid of this piece of crud.
Yeah, sure, in a world full of candies and Korean-speaking unicorns, this kind of behavior might go unpunished, but let's be real, Jake is guilty of repeatedly tampering with personal property, which is 100% a crime. If charged, Jake would face $10,000 and up to 2 years in jail. Not exactly the worst punishment, but still, next time, just don't be insufferable, dude. Jake takes things too far again, this time crossing the line into full-on animal cruelty for the sake of some cheap entertainment, even though he is an animal. In the episode The Jiggler, Finn and Jake are whistling their way home, carefree as ever, when they realize they've got a little follower.
Keep it going, man.
Just start crying.
Ah, yeah.
Guy is a pal for life.
The strange-looking creature is such a fun one that they both decide to take it home and keep the fun going.
Let's take the jiggler back to the house and just stick him by our bed next to a little dancing guy every morning.
It may sound like harmless fun, but just you wait. So they take the jiggler home and immediately put it to work, treating it like a toy.
Enough hygiene. Let's get to it.
This is cool.
They have their fun with all that dancing, but the next morning, Jake is ready to go at it again. Except there's a small problem.
Slam a cow. That fool looks rumped. He's all limp and weird.
I bet he just needs some breakfast after a night of extraordinary jiggling.
Yeah, breakfast would be a nice idea, but then the boys have no idea what to feed it with.
Whatever. I think he's digging it.
That doesn't sound good.
Their next attempt at what to feed the poor, pale-looking jiggler is more silly.
Look, Jake. Wow! His favorite food is drawings.
That's awesome.
No, you jerks, it isn't awesome, it's terrible. Of course that doesn't work, and it all gets worse from there.
See? That worked. Ready to jiggle again, little guy?
And
Quick!
finished. Ugh, you look terrible.
It's painfully clear that Finn and Jake have no idea what to do, and the jiggler has just gotten in very, very bad and ugly shape, all thanks to them.
Our pet exploded.
This is why you don't take creatures out of their habitat when you have no idea how to take care of them. Or really, just at all. They attempt to fix the jiggler together, but at that point, the poor creature's almost dead.
We're kidnappers and murderers. I just wanted to have fun and jiggle.
We can fix this. Mom looks like she's out by Stanley's house, where we found the jiggler.
Finally realizing their mistake, they decide to take the jiggler back, and thankfully, the mother, after making a fuss, finally accepts her child despite the damage it's endured.
I'll never kidnap again.
You said it.
And there would be a nightmare waiting for you two as well in the court of law, because your actions wouldn't go unpunished in the real world. What was fun for Finn and Jake was downright cruel when you think about it. They were using the poor jiggler as the dance machine, neglecting its basic needs, and caused significant harm. For that, Jake could be facing 5 years in jail and paying a fine of $25,000 for animal cruelty. Jake can be pretty terrible when it comes to giving advice on handling a problem. Despite being the older adult and the one that should know better, he barely acts like it. In the episode Flame and Frost, Finn is enjoying a nice moment with Flame Princess when the big bad Ice King shows up to start some trouble.
Hey, you two should get a room. You and that log. Cause you're hugging a log, you weirdo.
But then FP burns hot with anger and puts the Ice King in his place. Quite literally.
Why don't you get a room?
My hams.
Beating freaky old Trump.
Now that's some power move. But after the fight ends and night falls, Finn has a strange dream.
Oh, so good!
Now that's some dream. But Finn becomes fixated with finding out how it ends, and in order to do so, he sets up FP and Ice King to fight again in order to trigger the dream. That is just so wrong.
Like being made fun of, Ice King.
Now on the second night, the dream happens, and it's more creepy than the first.
What? Oh,
Finn, totally freaked out, goes to Jake for advice, but Jake isn't always the kind of person one should be seeking counsel from.
Dude, that means it was a prophetic dream. You have to finish the original dream. You have to get Flame Princess and Ice King to fight again so you can see the end of the dream.
It's just crazy how none of them could think things clearly and realize that such a suggestion was a terrible one. Even if Finn had no idea, Jake should know better, should he? Shouldn't he? Right? And now that the Ice King and Flame Princess have been set up to fight again, the catastrophe from the fight is much more severe. Now, while Finn is the major culprit here, Jake's hands aren't clean either. Incitement to violence by encouragement or whatever other means is a crime, and so Jake would be sentenced to 5 years imprisonment and $10,000 in fines for encouraging Finn to set up the fight. Stealing from the living is one thing, but stealing from the dead? That's a whole nother level of low. 6 feet deep kinda low. In the episode Ghost Princess, Finn and Jake meet the Ghost Princess and she shares her story with them.
Till I discover the cause of my death, oh, can't ascend to the 50th dead world. I have no memory of my mortal life. Yeah, how I died.
It's a crime case!
Moved by that, Finn and Jake decide to help her solve her problem, and so they go to the cemetery to crack the case and maybe caskets too.
Sing ya, canary! Yeah! What you know about Ghost Princess, huh? Give it up, Duncan!
This whole bad cop, good cop thing gets too much in Finn's head, but while he's at it, bursting graves open, Jake isn't such an innocent bystander.
Ghost, come out! Rah!
I think this place is abandoned, man.
Come on, Jake, show some respect for the dead. Ghost Princess calls off the investigation because she's found a love interest. Not weird at all. The two boys call it a day, but it wasn't all for nothing at least.
I wanted to crack the case, you know?
Look on the bright side. We looted all this sweet grave booty. Ka-ching!
You looted? That's bad, man. You're supposed to be good cop.
I didn't know it was wrong.
Not knowing it was wrong isn't getting you off the hook, man. For grave robbing, Jake will be looking at about 10 years in jail and a $10,000 fine. Sure, Finn and Jake go about acting as heroes and saving the day, but then they do some pretty messed up stuff too. I mean, this whole video has proven that at this point at least. Like the time when he decided to escape blame by deliberately pinning a crime on someone else. This happened in the episode The Duke when Finn and Jake were again having fun together, playing silly little games, but over on the other side, Princess Bubblegum doesn't seem to be having as much fun as them.
Go on, get out of here! Unless you feel like a fist cook, keep running!
What the heck is going on?
Probably best to stay out of it.
Yeah.
That would be my thoughts as well, stay out of it. But just a few seconds later, they both do anything but stay out of it.
Let's see how it flies. Ugh. Huh?
Uh-oh.
Okay, so they have a fall guy for their actions, and Finn, being the good human he is, decides to own up to it by confessing to the princess. But the princess goes on a rant because the bottle did do a lot of damage.
I'd never forgive anybody who did this to me.
Yeah, but...
Forever!
Forever?
Yeah, that hate's kind of justified. Now, poor Finn actually wanted to go ahead and confess, but Jake stopped him, and then the stakes got even more serious.
Bring the Duke of Nuts to justice of a cold dungeon!
Being tasked to turn in a person from a crime you actually committed, yeah, that sucks. And Finn isn't about to be that guy, but turns out Jake is that guy.
The Duke of Nuts is bad guys. Think about it. Bubblegum hates him so much that he must have done some rotten stuff.
And somehow, Jake convinces Finn to join them in pinning the crime on the Duke of Nuts. So...
We'll be vigilantes!
We're more like cops. Crooked cops.
So much for being heroes. And so the two of them head out to the Duke's castle to bring the Duke to justice, quote unquote. They end up meeting the Duke's wife, who makes a case for her husband in a weird way.
But he was once such a wonderful man. He'd be a dog. We'd lie together underneath the cashew bush.
But that doesn't stop them from continuing their search for the Duke. They finally spot said Duke, and of course Finn realizes that maybe he went about this the wrong way. But rather than encouraging Finn to apologize and clear up everything, Jake insists that he shouldn't do that. Maybe he wasn't aware, but in the eyes of the law, for corroborating a false report and encouraging Finn to go ahead and pin the crime on the Duke, Jake the dog is guilty of false accusation. And for that, he'll be facing 10 years imprisonment and a fine of $25,000 if charged to court. Halfway in, and Jake is already looking at $100,000 in fines and a whole 36 years of imprisonment. And I've got to tell you, this was just the mild stuff. The rest of this dude's rap sheet would certainly make Finn question his partnership with him because it's just bananas. It's pretty normal for friends to have squabbles with each other, but you know what's not normal to do when you're both having an issue? Assault. In the episode Who Would Win, Finn and Jake decide to start training because, I mean, even heroes need to be prepared to fight crime. But then it seems only Finn was taking training seriously.
You playing Copy's Castle?
Yes.
Finn gets mad and takes out his anger on the game.
I never really take anything seriously, except Compy's Castle.
Jake is infuriated because now he's no longer going to be the third best player, and things get wild from there.
I'm gonna break every bone in your body.
Ouch.
And then they both decide to fight it out with Jake dishing out some serious damage.
Apologize for not taking training seriously.
Come out, you chicken nut.
I don't know about you guys, but this isn't what friends do, typically, let alone partners that are supposed to be fighting evil together. Jake physically attacking Finn is assault and battery, and it comes with a very serious penalty. Even if Finn had provoked him by destroying the game, it did not give Jake the right to assault him like that. He'll be facing 15 years in jail and paying a fine of $150,000. Sometimes I wonder what exactly is going on in Jake's head. In the episode Conquest of Cuteness, Jake sees a weak and vulnerable set of people, and his immediate thought is just off the charts. The episode begins with our dynamic duo hearing a commotion outside. They rush out to tackle the situation, except what they meet is just too cute, literally.
The camera, Jake!
I can't. I'm paralyzed by the cuteness.
Bimo, get the camera!
Bimo is camera.
But the leader of the cuties insists that they are anything but cute.
We're not cute, we're evil, and we're here to dominate you.
Turns out the cute people weren't joking and meant serious business about being evil.
What the? That's my sword. It came from downstairs.
After they manage to make it through the cuties' disturbance at night, the next morning comes with something much bigger.
There's gotta be 1,000 of them.
At first, it is terrifying seeing all the cuties charging at them, but soon the terror turns to pity when they all just collapse.
These guys aren't a threat to anyone.
These guys are a threat to themselves.
But rather than helping them, Jake's first instinct is squashing them all.
You wanna just smash them all?
What?
Yeah, it turns out Jake can have some pretty murderous intent sometimes. But in the episode The Eyes, this time he takes it beyond just a thought or suggestion to actual execution. So he and Finn are being watched by a horse and find it uncomfortable to sleep with the creepy horse just standing there watching. And so the two just keep trying everything they can to get the horse out of the way.
Rah! Ha ha! He can't stare at us if he's blind. Why? Rah!
Shouldn't creep us out from way over there.
No more.
Jake is finally fed up with the horse and its creepy stare, so he comes up with a more permanent solution.
Dude, let's kill the horse.
What?
How are you as a hero thinking of such things? And even when a horrified Finn calls him out on that, Jake doesn't back down.
We'll dress him up like a bunny. Ha ha! And get a giant hawk to kill him.
What?
Ah!
No, man, that is wrong.
And somehow he got Finn to cooperate with him to get the horse out of the way.
Full sight. We did it!
Back to sleep.
Except they didn't do it, though. The horse comes crashing into the house, and in a twist, it turns out it wasn't exactly a horse. But this still stands as attempted murder for Jake. No matter how sleep-deprived you get, you don't decide to just go straight to murder in order to fix your problems. So you'd be facing 20 years in jail and $25,000. Now, when you use your hard-earned cash to do something good, it's usually driven by genuine kindness. But Jake the dog, well, let's just say his idea of helping people is very questionable. He takes generosity to a whole new level of chaos by weaponizing money to pull off one of the most ridiculous stunts ever. This madness unfolds in the episode Furniture in Meat, where BMO and Nepter's stick-fighting escapades accidentally unearths a hidden treasure hoard right under the treehouse.
Yo, Bimo, what happened?
You got too much money, honey.
Who would have thought we could have too much treasure?
What I'll give to have that kind of problem. But having so much money brings a lot of questions and responsibilities.
So what should we do with all this swash?
You should give it to Robin Hood.
No, wait.
Maybe we could, spend it?
How much of it?
Dude, all of it.
And Nepter suggests a road trip to the Wildberry Kingdom is the perfect spot to spend all the money.
This recent advertisement.
Check it out, Jake.
Dang, Wildberry Kingdom got all fancy.
Continue to chill.
Come on, Nadim.
So they head out to the city trying to understand how to go about spending their loot.
Let's parse out some dough to spend.
But the police shows up because, hello, dumping money in a fountain isn't exactly legal.
Goofing in a public fountain is punishable by a lashing. You're trying to bribe me? No, that's what I'm talking about, fellas.
And that's how Finn and Jake learn how to go about spending their money. They decide to set up the fountain, but that's illegal as well.
No furniture or meat in the fountain. Maybe you can, fellas. Maybe you can.
Second bribery in how many minutes? But Jake soon spreads his antics beyond just spending money on bribing. He starts ordering random people to do stuff, and he hits a realization.
People do anything for money. I've got a ton of money.
But soon he wants more than just ridiculous tasks, and he takes things to another level.
Mabel, do you hear something? We're not robbers. We're actually here to give you money.
So you break into people's homes in the middle of the night just to give them money? Of course not. Jake certainly has his intentions, and they are not good at all.
You sleep on your back now.
I got sleep apnea. My hands instructing will suffer.
Turning down all this smoosh, huh?
But if forcing them to do stuff like sleeping in ridiculous positions wasn't bad enough, he does even worse.
You can eat. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
And still not satisfied, Jake decides to take things even further by going to the Wildberry Princess with a proposition.
Princess, are you ready to earn all this cake? Is yours if you let me sit on your head.
Jake is simply too far gone at this point. When he proceeds to sit on the princess, he crosses a line and she calls for their execution.
Guard and prepare them for execution!
Do that and get paid mad buck.
And in some form of poetic justice, the death sentence is by molten gold.
You and your own molten gold! Release the golden flood!
But right before they're dipped, BMO shows up in full Robin Hood mode to save the day. The gang escapes the kingdom and the Wildberry Princess bans them from ever returning. Probably good. I think this goes without saying, but in the real world, Jake wouldn't be getting away with just being banned. Starting with bribing a public official could land Jake with fines of $50,000 in 15 years alone, but then we're talking about barging into a random couple's house uninvited. This counts as trespassing, which will fetch Jake a fine of $5,000 and 2 years in prison. But we're not done yet, because forcing citizens to do weird stuff for money is not just terrible, it's criminal and falls under coercion. This is also going to get Jake 7 years in Slammer and have him pay fines of $25,000. So in total for this section, he's facing 24 years in jail and $80K. Let me ask you a personal question. Do you think stealing constitutes a heroic act? Well, Jake don't really care. What goes down in the City of Thieves is insanely crazy. Kicks off when he and Finn find a strange looking city that's actually
Some kind of city of
Thieves! It's the City of Thieves! All who enter the city are destined to become thieves themselves!
To receive a warning like that? Ooh, the best course of action is to turn back, but they gotta prove a point.
I wouldn't become a thief, lady.
Yeah, get your glasses on, Grandma.
So they get into the city. Their first mission is to help a little girl get her basket that was stolen, because how else do you not turn into a thief except by unstealing? Never. Can we just play the clip, please?
I'll get Penny's flowers back and come out of that city as pure as the driven snow.
Purify that city.
But don't speak so fast, Jake, because in less than a minute, the city gets to him.
Right, Jake? Jake?
Just gotta steal these boots.
Go away!
What are you doing, man? Did you get those boots?
What boots? Oh, no! I stole!
But it gets worse. Penny, the little girl, tricks Jake into stealing a chest from the King of Thieves, and now Finn is corrupted too.
My hands, they're all dirty, covered in the dust of a criminal act.
First time for everything, Finn. But this isn't Jake's first time, and he decides to show his friend the ropes.
Just as dirty as you are, Finn. We gotta walk this filthy path together.
And then the two decide to go on a stealing spree. Nothing strengthens bonds as much as criminal acts. I mean, thick as thieves, right? Okay, that's enough. Let's look at the charges here. Stealing, even in the City of Thieves, still counts as theft, and I'm pretty sure saying the city corrupted me doesn't count as a defense in the court of law. The crime of theft comes with a penalty of 10 years in prison and a fine of $10,000, depending on the value of the item. So for all the things he stole, Jake would most definitely get a total sentence of 30 years and pay a fine of $40,000. Fighting crime and evil is not an excuse to break the law, and it's definitely not a pass to throw someone in jail just because you think they're guilty. But guess what? Jake either didn't get the memo or just didn't care. In the episode Candy Streets, Finn and Jake are enjoying a chill day playing together when a complaint comes rolling in.
What's wrong?
Somebody stole something from me!
I'll get something to calm her down.
And so now that the theft has been reported to the heroes, they decide to swing into action.
We must find the criminal, whatever it is that was stolen from Lumpy Space Princess.
Stolen. Eat something. Need more clues.
Wait, hold on a second. They don't even know who the bad guy is yet? But hey, when does that ever stop these two? They're off to crack the case. Last I checked, these two aren't official detectives. So their investigation? Yeah, that's textbook trespassing and breaking and entering. While they're snooping around for clues, Jake manages to cause property damage to boat. While acting as cops, they finally get the name of who their suspect might be and go chasing after him before he boards a train.
He didn't buy it, though. He always
Ma'am,
thought
can you give us a name?
No. Pete Sassafras.
Finally, some actual law enforcement to set things straight.
We're not criminals, man. We're working at beats just like you.
Sorry about that, officers. It was an honest mistake.
And I thought the cops were about to do their job. Silly me. Released by the police, Jake continues to give chase to catch up to their criminal. I'm pretty sure they still didn't get tickets to board the train either. Finn and Jake walk up to apprehend their suspect and whoa! Jake takes things to a whole new level of unhinged.
Give back what you stole from LSP.
Cuff him.
Yep, he literally shapes into a gun to interrogate the guy. And if Jake can turn into a fully functioning car, then this gun, I'm willing to bet can do some serious damage. Congrats, Jake, you just committed another crime. Here's your crime cake and your crime shirt, and here's your crime room. It's a prison cell. But wait, there's more.
Busted.
All
right, you listen, Flatfoot. I didn't do nothing.
So Jake not only falsely arrests the poor guy, but the suspect is still insisting he's innocent. Do you think Jake cares?
Welcome to the next 25 years of your life.
Now that's just creepy as hell. But while the duo are rejoicing, BMO shows up to shut down the ridiculous Sherlock Holmes cosplay, revealing the truth about their so-called case.
I finished processing the blood sample, and I have the result. It doesn't belong to anyone because it's not blood. Tomato sauce.
So Finn and Jake threatened, assaulted, and unlawfully imprisoned an innocent man, on top of all the other crimes they committed along the way. Quickly recapping here, because that's what I do with my life, Jake broke and entered during his investigation. That's 1 year and $4,000. Also, add the property damage. That's 3 years and $25,000. Animal cruelty he committed by slamming into those antelopes. That'll come with 5 years and $25,000. Assaulted Peter by turning into a gun, threatening him, and repeatedly hitting him, add 15 years and $150,000. Then finally, for falsely imprisoning an innocent man and holding him against his will, that is kidnapping charges worth 10 years and $10,000. Altogether, Jake, for this section, is facing 34 years in prison and $214,000 in fines. When heroes decide to sink into crime, it raises a lot of questions, and Jake might have mentioned having a criminal past, but this time he makes sure it's still his present when he goes into full-blown thief mode. In the episode One Last Job, Jake receives a cryptic message. His daughter, Jake Jr., is being held hostage and will only be released if he complies with their demands.
Break into the Royal Candy Vault and steal this.
The purest source of sugar in the known regions.
Now, whatever he does should be dismissed as done under duress or threat, except that Jake could have actually reported this straight away to the police, or better still, informed Finn, but no.
Destroy the tape. We on the level, BMO?
I ain't no clown town snitch.
I don't want Finn hearing about this.
And so Jake goes about putting back his old team together to carry out his mission.
Nah, BMO's covering for me.
So what's the deal, Jake?
I got a job for you guys. One last score. The big one.
Are you for real, man?
So now it's a full-blown heist, and he and the gang are pulling up to block out the security cameras, distracting the guards, and even using explosives. But when he finally gets to retrieve the baker's shard, he learns a painful truth.
Please do what he says!
Hang on, sweetie!
Thank you for saving me, Daddy.
You!
Yeah, no honor among thieves. The gang escapes to the baker's shard, but Jake isn't gonna just tuck his tail between his tail and cry. He chases after the thieves.
Run! Jake, I love you!
Flee, give me my daughter.
I totally double-crossed you.
He sure wasn't expecting that. Your own daughter double-crossing you. Guess you could say it runs in the family.
I just wanted to be like you. Mom told me stories about when you did crimes.
Let me go. Before I knew it was wrong.
I thought you'd be proud of me.
Proud father and daughter moment indeed, but not so fast, guys, because there will be plenty of bonding time together in jail. Planning and executing a heist, Jake being the leader of the gang will be charged with the conspiracy to commit a crime. He's gonna face 15 years in the clink and a fine of $25,000 for that. For breaking into the facility, that's straight up burglary, fetching him another year and $5K. Using explosives to break open the vault, that's another $50,000 and 5 years in jail. Now it's time for the actual theft. Given how valuable and heavily guarded it was, Jake will find himself paying $500,000 in fines and a prison sentence of up to 15 years. So all in all for this, he's getting 36 years in prison and $580,000 in fines. He's not getting $580K. Man, the last thing this dude needs is more money. There should be lines heroes shouldn't cross, like taking a life, perhaps. But Jake the dog, people's hero, crossed that line, even though it was kind of in a weird situation. So in the episode BMO Lost, BMO gets taken away from the tree fort by a bird who thinks it's gotten dinner for his little ones. But after trying to escape, BMO ends up falling to the bottom of a cliff and meets a new friend.
I've been lost in this wilderness a long time. Maybe you and me can wait here.
I know 2 heroes who can help you.
You do?
So the two begin their journey of trying to get home safe together. They finally arrive at the treehouse, and after going through so much together and bonding over the course of their journey, they share a moment together.
All this time we've been together, BMO, I haven't felt lost. And it's you, BMO, I feel at home with. I mean, if you feel the same way. I thought we could get married.
BMO says yes, excitedly. I mean, who wouldn't be excited too when such a question is popped?
Hey, a bubble. Pop.
Jake just pops up out of nowhere and bursts BMO's bubbles. And he doesn't even feel sorry, even when BMO's visibly heartbroken over it.
He's pretending to be all messed up because his bubble got popped.
That is pretty funny.
That's not just mean, that's actual murder. But it's not the only time Jake has actually crossed that line. In the episode Ghostfly, Jake goes all the way to ensure that what he kills stays dead, even if it involves killing it twice. So the episode kicks off with Jake struggling to sleep, so he decides to fix himself some soup, but even that gets interrupted.
Nasty! Yeah!
Swatting a fly isn't that bad, right? And wrong. This is the world full of sentient animals, and even a fly has a right to life. Jake just swatted it. Okay, maybe I'm going too far in this one. Too late, I'm committing. But it gets creepy when Jake still can't sleep because he's being haunted.
I killed you! Ghostfly touching me! Finn!
The ghost of the fly comes back to torment him for swatting its life short. And soon Ghostfly has them all running out of the house.
Oh, thank goodness we lost him.
A fly wielding a scythe to take its revenge. Things you'll only see in Adventure Time, folks. Now, Jake is totally fed up with being haunted and running up and down and whatnot, and so he calls a ghost exterminator to come and help him handle the fly problem. You mean an exorcist?
These circles will protect you from the ghost's attacks. Worry not, fellow believers. In this bag, I possess all the darkest and most powerful tools of magic.
But when his work tools get stolen by Ghostfly, he flees for safety. And now Jake knows he's totally screwed. But it gets really serious when the Ghostfly gets Finn.
Finn? What's wrong, buddy?
And so with that being the last straw, Jake decides to take matters fully into his own hands, thanks to BMO's advice.
I've been studying a karate move that could temporarily stop your heart, the ghost on his own plane of existence. It's okay, I learned it out of a magazine.
Sure, the science totally works. Jake becomes a ghost and goes to confront the fly in the ghost world. Killing the fly in the real world is one thing, but following it into the ghost realm to go finish business by killing it a second time? Oh yeah! For both of these counts of murder, if we're counting the fly, Jake's gonna get locked up for a minimum of 60 years. Now, the first quality of a hero should be selflessness, but Jake is one frackin' selfish dude that would choose destroying an entire city just to satisfy his selfish cravings. In the episode Jake City, the magic man does one of his tricks and Jake gets sucked into a magical realm where everything's a bit weird.
Hi. Oh, hi.
Jake.
Good, man. Good.
Jake is trying to understand what's going on in this new environment, but things just get even weirder.
Is that Jake? Come on, man, it's Goose, your best friend.
Of course. Goose.
Jake decides to go along with this goose of a guy, and he's just fascinated by all that's happening. But anytime food is mentioned, or he thinks about food, things just start shaking.
How about that $5 you still owe me?
What $5?
Cheeseburger, cheesecake, ring a bell?
What is that?
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Nah, you gotta worry about that, please. And after the quakes keep happening, the mayor invites him over to ask questions about what's been happening. Jake meets the mayor's scientists and shares the reason for the quakes.
I gotta figure it out. The tremors are happening because Jake is hungry. Hungrier he gets, the worse the quakes will become.
While the rest of them are baffled after Jake proves it, Jake tells them the solution is for him to go get food. But that's when it all gets way serious as a scientist presents them with a scary theory.
I believe that Jake is an extra-dimensional being. If he leaves, his flesh will reconfigure, and everything and everyone here will disappear.
Dude, imagine setting off an earthquake because you're hungry. But Jake can't really imagine not thinking about food. But to go outside of the city to get food comes at a great cost. When the fate of the world depends on your stomach, a lot of risks can't be allowed.
Peace! Why?
But even though he's imprisoned, the rumbles keep happening.
Spaghetti!
Chaos erupts everywhere, and while all this is going on, Goose, the first dude Jake met, shows up at the cell and persuades Jake to leave the prison.
But what if Eric Adam Kimson is right, and I can't bring you back?
Then you won't have to pay me back that $5.
It's a tough decision for Jake, but he weighs his options and decides... So having made the decision to leave the city and the city being destroyed, Jake, even while grabbing a snack, can't help but feel bad, knowing he wrecked an entire city because of his hunger.
Just getting a snack, Goose. Just getting a snack.
But being remorseful wouldn't alter what has actually happened. That is indeed genocide. The penalty for committing a genocide is 100 years imprisonment and $10 million for the destruction of Jake City. How did we get here? In the episode The Lich, Finn and Jake do not only get tricked into committing a robbery spree, they also end up facing a destruction that threatens the fate of the human race and every other race for that matter, and Jake does nothing about it. This all started when Finn had a terrible and confusing nightmare, and after sharing it with Jake, they head off to meet with Billy. There they learn the crazy implications of what his dream meant.
Your dream is the ill omen of grave significance. Finn?
Yeah?
Are you ready to come with me on a mission to save all life from the Lich?
Now, this is all getting confusing and a bit creepy too, with all that talk of the Lich and the world ending, but Billy has a plan for them to stop the crisis.
We have to snatch the gems out of all the crowns of power?
That's right.
Why do we have to snatch them?
No time. The fate of the world hangs in the balance.
I guess it's not so bad robbing people of their precious gems just because you're about to save the world, right? Wrong! It's still bad. But the two heroes are off on their mission. After they pulled off their heist and are set to help Billy save the world, a shocking twist makes them realize they've been getting played this entire time.
Billy! Billy?
Give me the book.
Turns out it was the Lich the whole time, and he gets Finn to accidentally open up the portal, and then everything just gets super chaotic from there.
Thanks, Finn. I couldn't have done it without you.
Don't let him through that portal!
And with everything at stake, Finn and Jake try their best to stop the Lich from escaping. With Finn and Jake in the portal, they follow the Lich to the time room where they meet Prismo, who tells them that the Lich has made a wish to wipe out all humans. But since both of them are there, they get a wish to fix everything. So Finn goes ahead and makes a wish.
I wish the Lich never, even ever existed.
Sounds like a good wish, but it seems like no one told Finn the consequences of altering the timeline with a wish like that. In his new world where the Lich doesn't exist, gets into a more serious problem. Is this not kind of worse? Now the entire universe in Finn's world is at the brink of destruction.
Everything looks nuts.
Sometimes a well-intentioned wish can lead to nuts.
But how does Jake come into all this?
You get a wish too. Yep, totally. You can have anything you want.
A sandwich!
You're gonna waste your one wish on a sandwich?
It all gets out of hand for Finn in his world, and having had enough of it, finally Prismo helps Jake make a wish that fixes everything.
Okay, there is a way to bring back all life and get home.
Change.
Come on, Jake, can't you figure it out already, dude?
Change the Lich's wish and go home. Hey, I wish the Lich's wish was for me and Finn go back home to Ooh.
All right, see ya.
Finally! Now, even though things are back to normal, Jake still has his crimes to answer for. First of all, breaking and entering the princess's rooms to steal those gems will fetch him a total of about 70 years in prison, and given the worth of said gems, his fines for that would be up to $1 million. Then for endangering the, whole universe for a sandwich, that's like 50 years and $100,000 in fines. So in total for all this, he'd be facing 120 years and $245.1 million. That ought to teach him a lesson on taking his hero job a lot more seriously. No, it wouldn't. All of his crimes added up this whole video together, and Jake the dog will be getting locked away for a grand total of 475 years and paying a humongous fine of $256,289,000. How can a hero's rap sheet look like this? Wasn't this no villains are safe? Well, apparently no heroes are safe either. In fact, here's another one for you. Click on this character on your screen. I guarantee you there's a lot more where this came from.